Welcome back, everyone, and I love that song, The Blessing, don't you?
So
and that's
good.
what we want to do today. We want to be a blessing. We're talking about a topic that we can all relate to because it deals with the core of our identity and how God created us, and that's our hormones. We all have them, but they can be hard to understand, especially when they are unbalanced. So we're going to share some all-natural, easy-to-use hormone creams that we have available and are popular here at Daystar. We've actually been working with our guest for over 15 years. I can personally speak to the real results and effectiveness of these creams, and I hope that by the end of today's program, we can all embrace and understand our hormones in a better way. Here to help guide us through this discussion is author and hormone specialist, my dear friend, Barbara Hoffman. How are you? Good to see you. So good to have you here, Barbara. And, you know, we have been working together talking about hormones for many years. I mean, you probably came 15 years ago to Daystar.
Years. A little over 15 years.
A little over 15 years ago. And I remember talking to you early on about synthetic hormones. And I remember I did shows with Dr. Contreras, who's a dear friend of yours as well, talking about kind of the dangers of synthetic hormones. Women were taking hormones like, or things to help with their cycle or to help with going through perimenopause or whatever. And I told you my mother had been on Pro-MEN for many, many years. And it's not a healthy substance because it's not natural, right?
Right. It increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, blood clots, and breast cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And stroke. And one thing none of us want to have, ladies and gentlemen, is a stroke. So it's preventative and it's natural. You're now shopping in God's pharmacy, not man's.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that we live in an estrogen-dominant society. Now, they don't realize we get estrogen from plastics, from plastic water bottles, from food. I mean, there are all kinds of things, even in the air, that cause estrogen dominance in our body. What are some of these other things?
Herbicides and pesticides.
That's a big one.
And so that's why a lot of men will get cancer and heart attack because they're out absorbing the xenoestrogens, which I mean fake estrogens. They also, ladies and gentlemen, you'll recognize this, when you're over-estrogenized, you can gain a lot of weight right around the middle. So I call them not only xenoestrogens, but obesogens. And so I really want to encourage everybody, if you're on a synthetic hormone, you don't need to shock your doctor out of his, chair, but you can go in and ask and simply say, I'm afraid. I've read too much. They have to respond to your fears. And so say, can you try me on bioidenticals if that's what you want to do, you want to go to the doctor. However, God was so gracious to give us progesterone naturally that's available over the counter, and we have it.
So why do doctors use the synthetic hormones if the natural hormones are available?
Wonderful question. That's how they were trained. And many doctors, the last time they studied hormones was medical school. So if you have a 50-year-old doctor, he may not have studied hormones for many years. And the drug representatives come in with their satchel and they go, oh, here, doctor, here's all these samples, give them out to the ladies. And then when the ladies come back and don't feel good on them, they'll change the prescription. There's now 150 names for synthetic hormones.
So why was my mother given Pro-MEN early on?
She was given Pro-MEN because that was the #1 selling drug. Ahead of anything for thyroid or blood pressure was Pro-MEN because it was considered natural because it's made from, the pregnant mare's urine.
Yes.
The problem was they didn't give any progesterone, so women got breast cancer, and the government actually started warning people about Pro-MEN.
Yeah, well, years ago, many years ago, she got off of it, and she used your hormone cream to help her wean off of Pro-MEN.
Right. Well, let's call it the Daystar hormone cream.
Yeah, that's right, and she's been using it forever. But this first one we want to talk about, it's called ProHELP. This is for women who are still having a monthly cycle.
Yes.
And so why is this important for them to have progesterone? Because that's what's in here is progesterone, and that is the great hormone to have in your body, right?
Right. Well, you can still be having a monthly cycle and have low progesterone. And one of the big issues with doctors is if you go to the doctor and you're having any hormone problems, they check your estrogen. And they don't check progesterone. So now they say, oh, your estrogen is fine. Well, maybe your estrogen is fine in a normal range, but if your progesterone is low, you're now estrogen dominant. And so that's what this is for. And it also is called the feel-good hormone. So if you don't have enough of it, you're not going to feel good. Also, if you're skipping cycles, you're not making any progesterone during that month. So now you're really estrogen dominant.
So this is going to help people regulate their cycles.
Regulate their cycles. For women who have frequent miscarriage, it is the miracle.
You know, and that's the thing. We've gotten so many just viewer feedback and comments of women, young women, who were trying to get pregnant for so long, and then they were on this cream, and it helped regulate their cycles and help them have a baby.
Yes, and for miscarriage, what progesterone does is it keeps the uterine lining strong.
Yeah.
So estrogen builds up the uterine lining, progesterone keeps it strong. If you don't have enough progesterone, it drops along with your little embryo.
Well, what about women who are having really heavy cycles, really bad cramping? Will this product help them?
Cramping, bad cycles, endometriosis, fibrocystic breasts, clots. You know, you don't want anybody who has a teenager, you don't want them home from school in bed, you know, holding their stomach because the cramps are so bad they can't get, you know, relief. So also, younger and younger women, age 10, 11, 12, are starting to have problems because of this extra estrogen.
Okay, so we've got a spot on it, but let's see how we would use this, Rachel. This would be for you to use. So how would you use? Like a
You would
teaspoon?
take well, it says a quarter teaspoon, but I have people that go crazy, going, Barbara, my teaspoon, I can't. Just take it in like a size of a dime. Okay, that much. That's your dose. And now you go.
Hey, Rachel, there you go.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
And
I remember when I like first started my cycle, you would come and rub this all over me.
well, Dr. Contreras had 4 daughters.
Yeah.
And he said, Barbara, progesterone kept me sane.
Well, I know it can be hard to continue working and feeling like yourself when you're in premenopause or experiencing premenstrual issues. So here's